Well, hello there, and welcome to yet another week in my life as a third-year medical student. For this week, I'm on my internal medicine elective rotation, which means that I'm doing pulmonology and critical care. Now, fortunately, the hours aren't too bad, so it gives me plenty of time to study, which is much needed because internal medicine is a huge shelf exam that I'm gonna have to take at the end of the month. Not this month, next month. But since we're focusing on this month's rotation, let's get started with tomorrow. Hey, so it's noon and I'm already back in my car because, like I said, this rotation is really nice as far as hours go. The tough thing about it though is that it does give me less to talk about as far as my rotation itself, because I literally just show up, work up one patient, participate in rounds, and then I'll eat lunch at the hospital because they give me food, and now I'm done with the day. So all that's left on my docket is just to work out and to study, and that's how it's going to be this whole week. I'm just going to go to my rotation, work out, and study. Also, Happy New Year. It's now 2026, and I mention that because although I have less to talk about as far as my rotation goes, with this new year starting, I am in 2026, and this is going to be kind of the year that determines my future. When I finish my third year in May or June, I'll have to take my board exam, step 2, and that's scored, and that's going to determine really how residencies view me. And then the first 6 months of my fourth year is hopefully doing audition rotations at different residencies so that they can see me and be like, do we like this person? So the second half of my third year and the first half of my fourth year are all in 2026, and this is just going to be a crazy big, tough 2026 because it's going to be career determining. The audition rotations where I'm going to be going to the residencies, I actually start the application process pretty much now, and that goes all the way through March, and then I'll start hearing about whether or not I can do those in April. So a lot of these past few weeks has been trying to prepare all of my stuff for the application, because to attend those audition rotations I have to apply, which means I have to fill out an application and pay for an application. It wasn't something that I heard a whole lot about before actually starting med school, so it was kind of an unexpected expense that I have now to worry about going through my third year. And what makes it hard for a lot of people is a lot of times by now they don't know what they want to do yet, but fortunately I do know that I want to pursue anesthesia, so I just got to get myself spick and span for that, and that involves a lot of studying. So let's get home and get studying. I've had spaghetti and meatballs for dinner several nights in a row now because I'm actually incapable of making normal portion sizes. Good morning. So it's now Tuesday and I just woke up. I have been trying to make a much more conscious effort to be better about sleeping like a full 8 hours since I can, and I just need to prioritize it. And I've been pretty good about it, but waking up is still really hard in the mornings. I don't know. I mean, I don't have as bad of a midday slump, but I still have a hard time waking up in the mornings. And just like that, my day's done. You know, I think I want to go on a run today. Mile 1, 750. Mile 2, 742. Mile 3, 746. Mile 4, 729. Holy, I'm tired. I ended up going a lot faster than I thought I could manage, so I feel really accomplished for that fact. But right after about 3 miles, I was gonna quit because I was like tired. I'm like, okay, I'm done. That's enough. But then there were these 2 little toddlers that were on a walk with their grandfather, and while I passed them, one of the toddlers goes, "Grandpa, what's he doing?" And the grandpa was like, "He's running." And then one of the toddlers took off running after me. And then the other one was moving around. I could hear it behind me. And I heard the grandpa go, "Do you want to run too?" And he's like, yeah. So then I heard the grandpa put him down. And then I heard the 2 little footsteps behind me. And I was like, I can't stop now. Sometimes it only takes something small to keep you going. But really, if it's enough to keep you going, any reason is enough. I don't know. I feel like some people overthink it and feel like their motivation has to be noble or grand or really life-changing in some way. Today, the fear of being caught by 2 toddlers was enough to keep me going. All that I have left is to study for the rest of the night, so I'm gonna study until I go to sleep, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, and that is yet another day in the ICU completed. Being in the ICU has kind of made me, I don't want to say it's made me realize, but it's brought to light for me how much this is actually the case. A lot of times when you hear people say, "Oh my goodness, this doctor saved my life," you think that oh yeah, this doctor healed me, this doctor fixed whatever was wrong with me. But a lot of times the doctor's not actually doing anything aside from just keeping you alive. It's actually kind of surprising to me the number of times where there's nothing that the medical staff can do except prevent you from dying. I'll give you some examples to kind of illustrate what I mean by that, because a lot of times when you say oh yeah, this doctor saved my life, you think, oh yeah, they healed me, they fixed whatever was wrong. And some times where that is definitely the case is when you have an infection. If you have an infection, there's a bacteria that's slowly killing you. So then identifying what's infecting you and then giving you the right antibiotic, that heals you, that saves your life, because they are doing something that without that you would not get better. So they're literally making you better by giving you something to improve your health again. Another example is like surgery. Surgery is a very tangible way to see that, because if you have like an appendix that's ruptured, well, if that stays in there, it's going to slowly kill you. So then by removing the appendix, that's something that actually saves your life and fixes your health. But in the ICU, this is a really good example because it's pulm crit care too. In the ICU, let's say somebody has COPD, your lungs are damaged. The person with COPD, their lungs are damaged, and there's nothing that a doctor can do about that. If a person has a COPD exacerbation, what we do for them is we give them medications to open up their airways so that they can breathe better. We give them medications to decrease the inflammation. We give them oxygen, but nothing that we're doing is actually fixing their lungs. We're just preventing them from dying. We're just keeping them alive by symptomatically treating what the problem is. I guess I'm kind of thinking about this because there have been a few cases these past few days where we have had some people pass away. And when they say like you pull the plug, it really is, you just stop giving them the thing that's going to keep them alive. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, but it's just something that makes me sad, because when I think about it, it's like, man, I became a doctor because I want to help people. I want to fix them. I want to heal them. I want to do what I can to make their health better. And sometimes we can't do anything to make their health better. We can just prolong their life. And again, prolonging their life isn't a bad thing, because there are definitely cases like my grandfather's. When one of my grandfathers had COPD, for example, he prolonged his life and we kept him alive for a very long time. It didn't improve his quality of life, but he got to witness some things like my other cousins graduating from college and things like that. Or my other grandfather, he had leukemia, and all of the treatments were just really prolonging his life and kind of extending his suffering, but he very much wanted to continue living so that he could see his great grandchildren. It's just tough, man, thinking about it. We always want to do more, I guess, and that's what I was thinking about today off my shift. But alas, that is my Wednesday. We're halfway through the week, made it through the shift, so all that I've got left is to work out and to study. Hello, so I'm actually coming to you live from a different hospital than the one that I've been rotating at. Like normal, I got off at around noon today because that's when our rounds ended, but after that I drove over to a nearby hospital because it has an anesthesia residency that holds didactics here on Thursdays that I like to go to from 3 to 5 p.m. It's definitely not a requirement, and I just show up when I can, kind of like to show face and to learn, because they talk about things that are very interesting and that I'll hopefully be using in my future career. The thing is though, I get here early because it's closer to the hospital that I rotate at than it is to my house. Rather than driving all around, I just drive here and sit in the parking lot studying. So I've got my computer posted up there, I've got my iPad. The thing that's nice about having chosen a specialty that I want to pursue is that it gives me a certain sense of clarity while I'm trying to prepare for the future. Unfortunately, it's still a very scary experience. I think I just traded one form of uncertainty for another, but in other ways, it helps me be more goal-directed when I'm trying to do things. Like this, for example. This is a very productive way to spend my time, going to didactic lectures, showing face at the anesthesia residency, and learning more so that regardless of if I'm able to get accepted here or not, I have more funds of knowledge that I can hopefully use in the future. So while I no longer necessarily feel like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with myself? I kind of traded that for, man, this is really competitive and I've got to work really hard to make myself a good enough applicant so that I can match. From what will I do to can I be good enough? But with making up my mind came a lot of like determination. So I've pretty much steeled my resolve to where now I'm studying all the time, and I'm like, I've got to get a really good board score so I can stand out. I have a case report that I'm working on that I'm hoping to get published, and that would be really awesome because it's anesthesia related. I'm studying as much as I can because everybody's trying to get a high board score now, but at least I have a goal that I have to at least hit or get higher than. And I'm able to look at programs that I might want to go to and try to orient myself so that I can be as fitting for those programs as possible. Kind of like what I was talking about earlier this week when I was talking about trying to apply to sub-internships or audition rotations. Like, I know the places that I'm trying to be appealing for. I took you down because somebody parked next to me and I got shy, but I'm gonna keep studying, go to the didactic lecture, and then I'll hopefully work out again. Okay, so my time in my rotation for this week is officially done. You know, something about me is historically I've really not liked small talk. I didn't like the feeling of like just talking with somebody to fill space, like having a communication that really does nothing. But the thing is that during the first 2 years of my med school, I had every opportunity to just not talk to people. So I think that during that time, I kind of forgot how to just interact with human beings and socialize unless I already knew the person. So what's been really nice about these rotations is that I see and interact with so many people all the time, and I meet them and I work with them for a month, or I meet them and I work with them for a week, and then it's gone after that. So I've been relearning a lot of social skills, and I think that's really, really important because emotional regulation is really important in a job like this. We had a patient code today, and I performed CPR along with some other people, and then the doctors, like the fellows and the residents, were like running around doing their things. But after that code, the patient unfortunately did not make it. I think I'm still processing it, and there's a lot that I should probably think about before I start talking about this experience. But one thing in particular that I want to address is that as soon as that code was over, we cleaned up. I still had to go talk to other patients. And having this patient pass away was truly a devastating experience because we had to wait for the family to come to the room, and then the family was the one that ultimately had to say, you know, cut it, this is it. But when I was going to my next patient, what I was thinking about was the fact that this patient that I'm going to is in a completely different situation. Granted, they're only a few rooms over, but they don't know what happened in that room that I was a part of. So I had to get myself in like a headspace where it's like, you know, this person, I'm just brand new slate for this person because I need to still be as capable and as attentive as I can in the case that I'm about to address. Unfortunately, the next patient was actually very chipper. It was a very pleasant interaction, but it wouldn't have been able to be that way had I carried that emotional baggage from that first situation into the second. Yeah, but now that that's all over, I have the privilege to think about and process everything that kind of happened today. So I'll do that. But I have the rest of the day ahead of me. I'm gonna work out, I'll study, but my mom is actually gonna be visiting me for the weekend, so hopefully you'll see some cool, fun stuff with her around. Hello, so it is Saturday, and I've got a ton of stuff that I've got to do as far as like studying and school stuff goes, but my mom is in town, so let's try to have some adventures too. Okay, so we are back from a little outdoor endeavor, and my mom is currently taking a nap right now, but I'm going to start studying. Well, while I study, I'm going to try to make a very beginner sourdough bread because my friend gave me a bunch of yeast starter. So I'm going to try to use this. I got a cast iron Dutch oven, and I'm going to try my hand at baking bread for the first time today. Apparently it's a pretty involved process, but there's a lot of downtime in between, so I'm going to be studying while I try this out. Thank you. It's progress. It's done. It's done. The sourdough is done. Look at how good it looks. Look at that. Look at it. Also, I changed because my mother is wanting to go to the strip to see some of the Lunar New Year decorations. So we're gonna go do that right now. But I finished this before we left and I'm so happy about it. Hello, so I can't believe it, but it's already Sunday. It's pretty insane how fast these rotations go by. All that I have left today is to study and then to have lunch with some friends because my mom wants to cook for them. Once again, thank you so much if you watched this, and I hope that there was something of value in it for you. I hope to see you on the next one because I will be doing my general internal medicine rotation next. I wish that all is well on your end, and I wish you the very best with your endeavors. Jeez, dude, it really is insane how fast this time is flying by. Another rotation almost done.